do we have a fantasy star on our hands here, George? Here is the question with Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. A lot of folks went into the fantasy season saying, hey, look, maybe this isn't Anthony Richardson, but it could be the next best thing. I'm here to tell you, I don't know. I'm sort of feeling like Daniels could be better than Anthony Richardson.
I don't know if I'm going to go there yet, all right, but I think he's in the conversation, yeah. What did we hear at draft time? A lot of people wanted a quarterback who could move, right? You don't want the guy who's going to take 5-7 steps and throw the football anymore because you want that additional rushing yards. You know, you get 50, 60 yards, that's a touchdown, right? That's why Josh Allen is so valuable. Lamar Jackson is so valuable, right? You go up and down. Jalen Hurts. You go up and down here. I think Daniels is going to be a good quarterback. I think Washington got their guy, and he can throw the football too. We know McLaurin's a really good wide receiver. It may not be much else there. We'll see what McCaffrey can be. Luke McCaffrey can be there in time. But you know, I do have hope for him. I think at season's end he's going to be a quarterback one. It may be a low end quarterback one, but a quarterback one nonetheless.
Yeah, I was really impressed watching him in that game. All right, now Anthony Richardson, look, he's going to have a big year. He's going to have a big fantasy year. There's no question about it. I don't know about the long-term viability here. And look, give him credit. He hung in there with the Houston Texans. My fear for him, George, is that when you go back and you watch film, if you protect the deep ball against Richardson, he could hurt you with his legs. And that may be where all of his fantasy value is coming from. I cannot see him throwing 2 70-yard bombs like he did again.
That should come in time, right? Practice time. I think he will get better here. I think Richardson is going to be fine. Does need to learn how to avoid hits. All right. Once again, that hit. Remember that hit from Tua last night? He initiated it. Slide. The rules are made for you not to get hit. Take advantage of them.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the best of players, the hustlers, the people, the busters, but everybody else in between. The Wicked Wednesday has begun. We're locked and loaded. We got a full house on the program tonight. We've got a ton of games ready to tip off, drop the puck, and everything else in between. We got football that's winding down right now, mercifully, in the MAC, although these games have opened up, and we can tell you that we just got there with the over of Buffalo and Eastern Michigan, a football game that we didn't think had a chance, considering that it was 17-0 at the half, but it's now 36-20, make it 37-20 for the Buffalo Bulls. Good news, bad news. Game goes over. Good news, bad news, we were on Eastern Michigan. We'll take the split as we're getting punched in the mouth right now in Toledo, as the Ohio Bobcats are putting the finishing touches on Toledo right now. They're winning the football game 21-7, and with about 3.5 minutes left, looks like they're going to kick a field goal here. I actually have a in-game over 31.5. I was hoping for a touchdown to soften the blow. We hit an in-game over in the Buffalo EMU game. I would have liked another one here, but we still have 3.5 minutes left. Maybe something else can happen after this. We're going to be at 31. We're going to need another half a point. But as I stated, we got a bunch of NBA basketball coming up right now, and I'll share with you what we played. We took the Orlando Magic. Listen, the Clippers have won their last 2 games. The Clippers are actually a pretty good basketball team. They're one of the teams that I watch quite a lot. Their games, I get their games on KTLA, and we follow the Clippers pretty much on a daily basis, what's going on behind the scenes, etc. And they've been actually playing pretty good basketball, like without Kawhi Leonard. Now, I would say, once they get Kawhi Leonard back, they're going to be pretty good, but, right? We've been down that road before with Kawhi. Kawhi's never going to be the player that he was before. Kawhi's always good when he's on the court, but he's never on the court. The problem for the Clippers tonight and why I like the Orlando Magic is, even without Banchero, the Orlando Magic are smoking hot once again. They won 6 straight? These guys are on a roll right now. The Clippers are they're okay at home, but they're not a great home team. They got the new arena. It took them, they're like 5-4 at home. They're stumbled out of the gate at home. They're starting to win a bit at home, but it's not like it's a dominant home court for them in a new building. Thing is, the visiting teams get fired up for it too, right? Like if you're a pro player, you've already been in all these arenas, you're going to get excited. Oh, look at this place, and, new room, and you sort of get into it. And the big key tonight is no Norman Powell, right? No Norman Powell for the Clippers. Big difference, right? They're not the deepest team to begin with. And Norman Powell, man, this guy's been balling. This guy scores like 22, 23 points a game. So Norman Powell's been really lighting it up for them to start this season. No Norman Powell tonight. Red hot Orlando Magic. Give me the Magic on the money line. All these Clipper games are always close too. All right, so give me the Magic on the money line minus 165. We're going over 205 in this basketball game. The total's just a little light for me here. I think really we can get to 207, 208. If I had to say what they're going to get to, I would say, you know what, this game's sort of one of those 107, 105 type of games. I think we can get into the 210s, even though the total is 205. Right? Listen, we get to 102, 102, we're going to get there. So I think 205 is a manageable enough number for me to pull the trigger on. The reason why it's lower is because they're concerned the Clippers are going to be offensively challenged, right? Because now you're missing Norman Powell's points. So you got the lower total. The New York Knicks, people think of the Knicks and Thibodeau as sort of a defensive guy. And Thibodeau at heart, obviously, is an old school hard-ass defensive guy. But the fact of the matter is, the Knicks find themselves playing in a lot of high-scoring basketball games. And right now, the Knicks offense is starting to click a little bit. One thing with basketball, chemistry is an issue early. Remember even the big three, when they did when LeBron went to Miami, they struggled early too, right? Like, you see these teams, they get thrown together, there's a bunch of new dudes, and the Knicks do have sort of like a new sort of pecking order as far as who's going to shoot now, as far as the offense is concerned. But look now, the Knicks offense has been rolling. 124, 114, 134, 123. These guys have put up 114 or more points in 5 straight basketball games. And Phoenix are kind of offensively challenged. Phoenix are top heavy without Kevin Durant. They're missing a lot of points. It's only so much Booker and Beal can do. Other people are going to have to score as well. So you look at Phoenix, they're not quite as consistent offensively, but I still think this total is as well. I like the over in this basketball game. And I like the New York Knicks. You can lay the minus 175 with the money line. You can go the minus 4. I swear to God, I think I would have a better chance of completing a pass downfield than this Toledo Rocket quarterback. Like, for the love of God, they're bad. How the hell has this football team won 7 games, man? Like, really? Like one of life's miracles, the world's miracles. The National Geographic Channel should do like a documentary and a feature on the Toledo Rocket football team. One of nature's greatest miracles of 2024. How this football team somehow won. Who the hell did they play? Like seriously. Who did they play? Like Bishop Sycamore? The made-up high school football team? Like, these guys have a hard time getting a first down. Like, they got real problems. I tell you what, Ohio, we're not sending this to ESPN Classics anytime soon either, man. This has been a rough watch. I'm just praying that we can get, like, one more score here somehow on the way out. So, yeah, we're pulling the trigger on the over of the Phoenix and the Knicks game. Give us the New York Knicks on the money line tonight. We laid the 75. I don't want to play around with the 4.5, so I ended up playing the money line. And this is either a sign of desperation. It's either a sign of frustration after these MAC football games tonight. Although, hey, thank God to Lord Gambler that the first that Buffalo and Eastern Michigan actually goes over the number late. Better late than never. But against my better judgment, although not really, I like it. It is what it is. And for the record, the Magic are now 155. It's down to 3. Is the Atlanta Hawks. Give me the Atlanta Hawks against the Golden State Warriors tonight, plus the points. And I'm sure you're saying to yourself, don't the Atlanta Hawks suck? Well, yeah, kind of. I'm not saying the Atlanta Hawks are good, but the fact of the matter is it's all perception. That's why we have point spreads. But the fact of the matter, listen, the Atlanta Hawks were 7-8 on the season, and they're only 6-9 against the spread. But the fact of the matter is the Atlanta Hawks are now starting to win basketball games. These guys have they've actually won 3 of their last 4 games outright. And if you look at the Atlanta Hawks, when they lose, they've actually been pretty competitive, right? They lost by 4 at Portland. They did lose by 12 against Chicago. They lost by 1 against Detroit. They beat the Knicks by 5. They really haven't been smoked since November 4th against the Boston Celtics. They've, like I said, the Atlanta Hawks have been playing better basketball over the last week or so. 3-1 straight up, and 3-1 against the spread. Meanwhile, Golden State, yeah, they're good, but they're not like blow you out good. So I think this is sort of a dark horse sleeper tonight with the Atlanta Hawks. And we're taking the over of this game. The Atlanta Hawks, these guys do not play defense. All right, they're one of the worst defensive teams in the association. That's why they're 11-4 to the over on the season in their 15 games this year. And the Golden State Warriors, they do play defense, but they're also one of the best shooting teams in the NBA. They're 9-4 to the over. Let's pull the trigger on the over. Bring it.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. So, like I said, we got a bunch of late NBA games going on tonight, and we attacked them all. It was the out of spite bets after the MAC action. I'm like, you know what? All right, we're gonna go all in on these NBA games, which is always risky. Betting one NBA game is risky. Like betting 3 of them at once is like, oh boy, all right. A lot of things can happen here, but we rolled with the Atlanta Hawks plus the points and the over. We took the New York Knicks and the over, and I got the Orlando Magic and the over. The EMU Buffalo college football game did end up going over the number. Buffalo win again. Buffalo get their 7th win of the season after becoming bowl eligible last week. Meanwhile, the Ohio Bobcats are about to beat Toledo. It's 24-7 with 2 minutes left, and they have the football late. They're putting the finishing touches on things. Tomorrow night at this time, we'll be talking about the third quarter of play of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. We got some golf picks to get to with the best of the business and Brady Cannon. We got Cam Stewart in the house, but let's start off with the Thursday night National Football League game. Brady, your thoughts on the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns game tomorrow night? A 3-7 ATS Cleveland Brown football team that seemingly a lot of people talk themselves into liking on a weekly basis, but they don't do a lot of winning or covering, Brady. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I liked them a few weeks back when they were getting like 8 points against the Eagles, but I don't believe I bet it. I chickened out and cost myself some money there. I liked them last week off of the bye in a good spot against the Saints, I thought, and they just didn't. They pulled a no-show there. I'm probably not going to be betting this game, but I would prefer the Browns here, Gabe. I didn't realize this. I think I heard our buddy Scott Wetzel say earlier today that Pittsburgh is like 0-7 on the road on Thursday nights. Yeah. Not a good team on the road on Thursday nights. And I hate to see them in this road favorite role. We saw it earlier this year when they lost to the Colts, right when they were getting a little bit fat and happy. I think they were 3 or 4-0 at the time, and Justin Fields was still behind center, and they went on the road at Indianapolis and laid an egg there. They come off of that huge win over Baltimore. It absolutely looks like a letdown spot. Now, all that being said, I made the number 4.5. It comes out 3.5. But, again, I'll probably stay away. But if I had to bet it, I think I'd take the home dog here in a division game.
I think personally, and I understand all the situational spots, and I was with you. I came close to liking the Cleveland Browns last week. And I decided against it, smartly enough, although for whatever reason I took the Tennessee Titans, which is like the first time I've done it all year. But without being stated, guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 8-2 against the spread this year. Them, the Detroit Lions, are the two best teams against the spread in the National Football League. They have been rolling, and despite all the bad situational spots that you just talked about, the Cleveland Browns, just to sort of simplify it, I think we can overthink things at times. They're not very good. I guess that's the best way of putting it. They're not a very good football team. And they're at that point of the year now for who and for what, right? That's the thing. How hard are they going to play from here on out?
Gabe. They were really banged up along that offensive line. Nick Chubb is back, and he's getting better every week. They are getting healthier every week, and that could turn things around for them. We saw Jameis show up that one game when they beat the Ravens, and he hasn't shown up since. I don't know. Like I say, I haven't bet many Thursday night games all season. I typically don't, like to jump in that early. I like to wait for the Sunday games and get as much information as I possibly can. But if I had to bet this one, I'd be on Cleveland here. It just doesn't feel right for Pittsburgh on a short week to be laying too many points.
If I was Cam's bookie, I would make the spread 2.5 because he'd take Cleveland anyways instead of 3.5. I'm assuming you're on the Cleveland Browns.
You assume right, Gabe. A lot of dogs. It worked out tonight in some things, but I will take Cleveland and hold my breath. And I'm transparent. I had Cleveland last week against the Saints, and it was a horrible bet. But now, to Brady's point, health is getting better. They hate the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everyone feeling good about the Steelers. And you're right, Gabe. It is a situational bet. Who's a better team? Pittsburgh's much better. But Cleveland always brings their best against Pittsburgh, especially recently. That's one time. They hate each other, right? So I think Cleveland, if you're going to get a game from them, it's going to be against Pittsburgh. But yeah, it's kind of like a hold your nose pick, but I will take Cleveland and probably tease them as well. But it's probably safer in a teaser. So I got to find a dance partner with Sunday with Cleveland. Getting 10.5 or whatever is a hell of a lot better than 3.5. I can tell you that.
Pittsburgh Steelers have been on a roll since Russell Wilson's taken over, and they even won the last game that Justin Fields played. So they've actually won 5 football games in a row. As far as head-to-head is concerned, the Steelers have pretty much gotten the better of them. They are 7-3 against the spread, Cam. The last 10 times that they played, they've beaten them 2 of the last 3 times. Cleveland did beat them. Last year, 13-10. The last time they played late last year, I don't know really what we can make of that game. Brady, before the break, I wanted to ask you, I had to ask you about a Thursday nighter, even if it's not the most bettable game in your opinion. What about your San Francisco 49ers going on the road to Lambeau in pretty much a must-win situation for San Francisco suddenly? They're 2-point underdogs right now. I saw earlier in the day, I believe, is it 68%? Shannon's like 68% covering clip as an underdog going back to 2020. What do you make of this game, Brady? And one thing I saw as well, I guess the last 3 times these two teams have played, it's been decided by 2.7 points average. And the thought process was that Shanahan and LaFleur are best friends. Like literally and figuratively. Like they are best friends. They talk all the time. And they know each other's offenses inside out, Brady.
Yeah, they sure do. And the Niners, I think, have, for the most part, owned the Packers. You know, you go back to the playoff days with Kaepernick and Rodgers and, even recently with Jordan
beat them
Love
last year.
Well.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, I would probably lean a little bit San Francisco here because I think this team has kind of hit rock bottom. I don't know if they could go much lower. If they lose again, their season is really on the brink. And I hate to fall into the trap of betting a team that must win, because if you must win, you must not be that good. You wouldn't be in that situation of having to win, do or die. But I think the Niners are probably better than their record suggests. They have potential. They have a higher ceiling than their record would suggest. I wouldn't be surprised if they bounce back here. But, Gabe, you don't want, like to your point with Cam, you don't want to take a lousy half, right?
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
My grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek. As I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I'm Morency. Sirius XM Channel 159, SportsGrid Radio and Television Network. All right, we'll get to Brady's golf picks. But before we do, Brady, I just threw a couple of games at you because obviously it was a Thursday nighter, and you are a 49er fan, although it doesn't affect your handicapping. Thoughts on the Niners, but it is somewhat of a tricky week this week. Like, let's just call it out for what it is. There's a lot of bad early games this week, right? Just sort of bad teams playing and weird point spreads. But then you get, the late card and the prime time card are sort of playoff implication games. Arizona, Seattle, basically, a first, obviously a massive game for both football teams. San Francisco, Green Bay, massive game for both football teams. Philadelphia Eagles, LA Rams, big game for both football teams. Baltimore Ravens, LA Chargers, big game for both football teams, Brady.
Yeah, absolutely. The late slate is looking good. I just wish they had 4 or 5 games. I hate it when it's only 3. But I made the Eagles a 5-point favorite. I was very surprised to see that open at 2.5. My numbers favor the Eagles for sure. The Packers, I made them a 2-point favorite. It opens 2.5. So, no real advantage numbers-wise for me there. I made the Cardinals a favorite. It opened up pick'em. Some shops had Seattle as a favorite. Not that there's a huge difference there, but I think the Cardinals are the much better team here. It's going to be hard. I mean, there's a lot of, what makes this card tricky, Gabe? There's a lot of road favorites. And I don't like to bet a lot of road favorites typically. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs, I made that number 14.5, and they're only 11 over the Panthers. I thought that one was a little bit weird.
What about Denver, Brady? The F1 game on Sunday. Denver, it's up to 6 right now.
And you know what? I would have to be betting the Raiders there. I don't think the Denver Broncos are as good as what they looked like last week in trouncing the Atlanta Falcons. And I don't think the Raiders are as bad as they looked last week either. I would be on the Las Vegas Raiders here, but I was just listening to a report earlier tonight before I came on. They're really banged up injury-wise. And so that has me having hesitation with the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, the Denver Broncos, a road favorite by 6 points? That just doesn't sound right. I think it's a really tough week with these road favorites. The one that there's a little bit of a situation and an angle that I can lean on a little bit, guys, is the New York Giants. They make the change at quarterback. We've seen this time and time again, year after year. You had the New Orleans Saints change it with head coach, and that inspires New Orleans for now 2 weeks in a row. Usually it lasts that next week immediately. It doesn't always last longer than that. But the quarterback situation, we saw that earlier this year with Bryce Young being benched in Carolina. Andy Dalton comes in. He goes on the road and beats the Raiders. I wouldn't be surprised if the change at quarterback for the New York Giants puts a spark into this team, and they're very competitive, if not winners, against Tampa Bay. That would be the one where I can, initially see a situation that could be favorable, and I'll have to dive into that one a little bit further.
For whatever strange reason, they've won more games with DeVito than anybody else over the last 2 years. DeVito went 3-3 as a starter. Jones is like, it's three wins in like 2-3 years or whatnot. What's pretty crazy is actually Tyrod Taylor hasn't even been there for like 2 years or whatever, and he has more wins in the last 2 years than Daniel Jones at home. The Giants are an absolute train wreck, but what a mess that team is. I'm going to get to that later. And like Drew Lock today spoke out, and he basically said, that's what I'm saying.
If you're liking the Giants, there's not a lot of love apparently, and a lot of distraction and stuff going on in that locker room. It's not as easy as it looks. Like, okay, they replaced the quarterback. Let's bet on that team, because it appears there's some hard feelings and maybe some dissension inside that locker room after seeing that Lock interview earlier today.
Well, and it wasn't just that, but you're right. It's different if the quarterback comes in. Like Winston came in, it was like, fine, hey, good. Like Deshaun's terrible. He's not getting it done, so maybe this will help.
Yeah.
New York is different. You've got wide receivers saying, we all know Jones isn't playing just because they don't want to pay him, and it's a money deal. Because they're doing with the car deal. They don't want to get him hurt now. They don't want to owe him money. So it'll be the end for Jones. But then you get Drew Lock, who was promised that he was the second-string quarterback, yet now he's not playing. And I like his little comment. He goes, it's pretty interesting here, isn't it? And he basically told the media. And he didn't even hide it. They said, what do you think? He goes, what do you think I think? Like he goes, what do you think? He goes, I was brought here and told I was the backup quarterback, and now whatever. He goes, I'm not playing. He goes, pretty strange. Daniel Jones was 4th on the depth chart today. 4th.
sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I'm Morency, the Pittsburgh Players, the Hustlers, the people to bust them, and everybody else in between. Well, I thought it was a stupid idea to take the Atlanta Hawks, and it was 36-17 right now. But we are on the over of the game, so a nice start. Golden State have racked up 36 already. Although the Knicks are also routing the Suns early, and I'm on that. And I'm on the over there. It's 32-16 for the Knicks over the Phoenix Suns. The Magic and the Clippers are getting ready to start. All right, let's get down to some golf. Right now, we got the RSM Classic from St. Simon's Island, Georgia. Let's throw it to Brady Cannon. Brady, best bets. What do you like and why this week on the PGA Tour?
Well, for the final event of the FedEx Cup Fall, guys, I'm wearing my hat, my Sea Island hat. I've actually played this course one time, lucky enough to play the Seaside course, which they will play 3 out of the 4 days here. Beautiful track right on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean there. A lot of intercoastal waterways weave through the course, and that's really contributing to the driving accuracy being at a premium. The fairways are pretty wide, but you've got a lot of water hazards out here, so accuracy is really the way to go off the tee. It's a short knockers place. It's not a long course, and that's who you see win this type of golf tournament. It's what we see, in this part of the country. You go up the street to Harbor Town, accuracy, coastal course, Pebble Beach, Bermuda, where we were last week. It's that type of track, and that's the type of player I went after this week. I took Seamus Power at 34-1. Guy's been great this fall. 2 11th place finishes, a 13th place finish, a 23rd last week in Bermuda, where he's also won. He just finished 10th in August back at TPC Southwind, another one of these condensed, smaller Bermuda grass tracks. So I think Seamus Power is a good play. Then I went to Justin Lauer at 50-1. And Cam, you remember this for sure. This guy was in, right. And the week before, he was all choked up in Mexico when they asked him about possibly getting his first PGA Tour win. And he got kind of ticked off. And he said, you know how hard it is, to win out here on tour. And now they're condensing these fields. It's even harder because, they're going to the top 100 rather than 125 and this and that and the other, all the changes. And he's like, man, it's getting harder and harder out here to survive and keep your job. And I think that's kind of inspired this kid. He ended up finishing runner-up that week, finished 5th last week, like you say, Cam. I'm going to ride this hot hand. I think he's got a little something in his system that he's out to get that victory. And who knows, maybe he's a great top 10 or top 20 bet because the guy's on one right now. And then the old guard here that happens to live at Sea Island, like about 40 guys in this field seem to do, Matt Kuchar at 60-1. He's won at Harbor Town. He's won at Wailea in Hawaii, Colonial. He plays all these short coastal tracks really, really well. Like I say, he lives in the area. He knows this course like the back of his hand. Short game, accuracy, all that good stuff plays into the category that you're looking for here, the type of player you're looking for, and Kuchar is exactly that. And then Daniel Berger, I tried him a couple times. I probably tried him 3 times on this recovery tour he's on. He was gone for about 18 months with injury, but this guy is one of the best players in the world. He's on the outside looking in, 127th in the top 125. So he's got to play well this week to get inside and keep his job. That's not really what's motivating me here. He's won at Colonial. He's won at Pebble. He's won twice at TPC Southwind. He ought to do well at this golf course as well. And then finally, Michael Kim. His only PGA Tour win came at a watered-down field, a shorter course, the John Deere Classic, and he's been playing great as of late. His last 3 starts, he's finished 5th, 30th, and then 12th last week at Port Royal in Bermuda. So I grabbed him at 75-1. I've had the runner-up, you and me both, Cam. We've had the guys finish in 2nd and 3rd the last couple of weeks. I'm hoping to go one step better and get the winner here to wrap up the fall season.
Can you believe in Europe we have 4 bets, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th? Like we had everybody but Rory. And Rory wins for like at 4-1. I'm like, thanks, Rory. Guy put together
Every now
a
and
good
then you
round.
got to bet the shop,
That's
right?
life. That's life. Yeah, that's why we bet these guys top 5 and top 10 or whatever. But great pick on Lauer. This kid, he got me choked up too. He seems like a nice kid. And these books are going to get burned one day, Brady. When Berger wins at a price like that, they're going to get annihilated because people are going to hit him
this week, man. This guy was ranked as high as like 15th in the world. And I'd love to see Daniel Berger get back to that spot and contend for major championships and play on Ryder Cup teams and stuff. He was a great, great player.
He has a medical exemption though, right? Correct? Because he was hurt for a while. Does that
18
go into
months.
anything? Yeah, 18 months.
As far as I know, he's on the bubble of keeping his card here. I don't know what the story is exactly as far as a medical exemption, but I think he is in danger of losing his playing privileges for 2025 if he doesn't do well this week.
You got to bet on Rory in these tournaments in Europe or the Middle East, whatever. Remember last year, he bangs off one every sort of DP tour and these. Yeah. And the off the PGA. Remember he beat DeChambeau in the Dubai, whatever it was.
Yeah.
The United, whatever the hell it was called, Dubai Cup or whatever it is. And I don't know what was it, the BMW that he recently won. I know the only problem is he's always the favorite in these things. You're not getting great odds with him. I think he was only like plus 400 or plus 450.
You gonna bet him to win the Masters, Cam?
Never.
Oh, wow.
Want to know why?
I wish he'd get there.
Gabe's right though. He wins in front of the Sheiks. Big deal. Like and then he's very lucky to beat Rasmus Højgaard and Shane Lauer and all these other guys. We watched Rory get close at Augusta, and I hate to say this, he crumbles. He starts to think, hey man, I'm there on the leaderboard, and then it's over. Like it's just one of those things he doesn't deal. And how many tournaments has he lost by like missing 5-foot putts? He just had a good round.
And how many times has he finished 2nd, 3rd, 5th?
Yes,
I mean, he's got a handful. I think he has 7 or 8 top 10s at Augusta, but he can't break through. It's a mental block there, I believe. If he's in contention, I mean, God forbid, if this guy's on the 13th hole, in the lead by 2 shots, wow, it might get ugly.
He could.
He's like the Buffalo Bills, though, to win a Super Bowl, and I'm a Bills fan, and I know this. They need to win in a blowout. Yeah. So maybe one of these Masters, Rory shows up and just smokes everybody. You know what I mean? And he doesn't have to be in that pressure spot.
He has the ability to do it, Gabe. The problem is he gets in his own head. And it's a real shame because if you look at all the players in the world talent-wise, there's nobody better than Rory McIlroy. But I don't understand how a player that good could get so loose with his putting. He was 138th at one time in wedge play. Like, dude, you hit the ball farther than anybody and straighter than anybody. Work on it. Those are the things you need to improve on. His wedge game sucks. Like, it's awful.
I was
most of
talking
the time.
about that with a friend of ours that's on the program quite a bit earlier today, Jeff Dawson, and he's a big Rory fan. And you remember at the Wells Fargo when he absolutely just steamrolled Xander Schauffele. Xander Schauffele went on to win the PGA the next week. But that's that fifth gear that Rory has that I don't think even Scotty Scheffler has. When Rory, gets to that level, he's insane. He just can't seem to find that level at Augusta. Or to close out the U.S. Open. He finds it at the Wells Fargo or Dubai or somewhere else. You'd love to see him find that in a major championship.
Yeah,
and I'm sure he would too.
When he plays for the Sheik,
I will know.
He plays for the Sheiks in Dubai. He's a lock, as Gabe said. 4-1. He wins every week. It's like every time.
He is a 4-time major winner.
He's a great player. So I'm just saying,
but he hasn't won one in almost 11 years.
His putting. His putting can be atrocious, or if he putts average, he'll win. It's one of those things. And his wedge play is just like so inconsistently weird. Like, you watch him and go, you should be, it's almost like, I'm trying to use an example of like a hockey player or somebody else with all the skills in the world and just doesn't, they should be killing. They're just absolutely killing everybody. That's how good he is. What are you going to do?
I personally think that he has too many outside interest. On again, off again relationships, business ventures,
distractions,
flipping out about the live stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's always, trying to start a new little indoor golf league with Tiger, which, is kind of funny, too, because he's so mad about people leaving the live. It's like, bro, you're starting your own effing league yourself. Like, no, why?
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The Wicked Wednesday continues. This is Sports Rage. I am Morency. Triple header of late night action in the association right now. The Golden State Warriors are up 15 on Atlanta. 9 minutes left in the second quarter of play. The total closed at 239.5. In-game total is 238.5 right now. So 43-28. Warriors are 14.5-point favorites. The Knicks, you could argue this total could be higher actually in-game. But whatever, we jumped in on the over 225.5. I thought it was too light. We talked about the Knicks' offense has been pretty explosive. Last 5 games, they've scored 114 or more, and they've gotten into the 120s a couple of times as well. And they're already at 50 points right now, guys. The Knicks have hung 50 points on the Phoenix Suns with 9 minutes left in the second quarter of play. In-game total is 240.5. It's 50-35. Like I said, you could make an argument that the 240 is still a manageable number. This game's a pure track meet, and the Clippers and the Orlando Magic have just gotten started at the Intuit Dome. Let's bring in Paul Bovey right now. Paul, your Knicks are rolling tonight. I don't know. I don't think you're in NBA mode yet, but I actually pulled the trigger on the Knicks this evening. This offense is starting to click right now. They had chemistry problems early, trying to figure things out with Cat on the floor, but it's starting to come together a little bit right now, and they're rolling early. They've already hung 52 on Phoenix, man. Still 9 minutes left, too, in the first half.
That's right. And we don't have any snowflakes or cupcakes or any of that stuff. We're dialing in right now. I knew it would take a little bit of time, but I knew Leon knew exactly what he was doing, and eventually we're going to come around and we're going to dethrone the Celtics. I know you hear this every year, whatever.
Yeah, we do.
Hey, you sound like a Sixer fan from 2-3 years ago. The Knicks are the new process. No, listen, they're good, but you know this. The thing with the Knicks, they made some nice moves. They tweaked the roster. I get it, but depth is an issue. So they still have an opportunity to work on that as the season goes on, to tweak this roster more. But I thought they lost a bit of grit with some of these moves, and they lost depth. And Thibodeau's fault is he runs these guys into the ground. So by playing him so much. MAC football tonight, Paul. You're normally a MAC football fan. Did you bet these MAC games tonight?
Oh, Gabe, really, I pulled one out of you-know-what because I had over 53 in that Eastern Michigan game. And, look, it looked dead in the water. It started out 8-0. I think halftime they had like 15 points or something like that. And all of a sudden, just an onslaught of points at the end. And a pick six, it culminates with a pick six, goes over the 53. I actually took a bad number because I figured this was going to go up, and it ended up leaning down. I think 51.5, 52 or something like that was the close. And anyway, we get this one. We caught a bad break on one last night. So these things tend to even out. And I had both quarterbacks over their total yards. So tonight was a good night in the MAC.
I was on the over as well, but I was on Eastern Michigan. So, whatever. I'm glad we ended up getting the over. And I jumped in on the over 40.5 or something. It got down to pretty low, is whatever, 41.5 or something stupid like that. I jumped in on that in-game over, but I wasn't happy about the other game, the Toledo game. I had the over 46.5, and Toledo's offense just spun its wheels all game. All right, we got 2 NHL games that have just sort of started here I want to get to. The Preds are in Seattle against the Kraken. They're minus 135 right now. It's still scoreless, so you can get the Kraken plus 105. There's 6 minutes left in the first period. The in-game total is already down to 4.5 right now. And the Buffalo Sabres are at the Crypt in Los Angeles. The Kings, minus 170 favorites right now. They've only played 6 minutes in this game, scoreless. Total 5.5. Under 5.5 is minus 170, though. Over 5.5 is plus 140. Cam, what are your picks for these games? Did you bet any of these 2 games?
You're damn right I did, Morency. Do Bears go take a crap in the woods? Yeah, I got the Sabres tonight plus 150, and I will take a shot with the Nashville Predators. I don't want to give it all away because I had the Leafs minus 1.5 and money line against Vegas, and they won 3-0. I got to be smart because I'll probably screw it up and piss it away on the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. So I got to be smarter with my money. That was a bad.
I don't know if betting on the Buffalo Sabres is being smart with your money.
Hey, 2 Buffalo teams in one night. The Bulls won. Maybe it's magic. The Bills over the Chiefs. We'll see. Hey, plus 150 is a great price, Gabe. And you know one thing. The Kings are a great road team. They're playing way better at home this year. Way better at home. But Buffalo's weird. When they go on these Western road trips, they tend to play San Jose tough, LA tough, Anaheim tough. This is where they do their damage for some weird reason. So I think that number's too good. I'll take Buffalo plus 150. Thanks.
All right, Cam's on the Buffalo Sabres. Paul Bovey in the house with us. We got Thursday night football tomorrow. We'll get into Paul Bovey's picks this week. But before we do, congratulations, Paul, on your survival in the Circus Survivor. Very impressive that you've got not one but two entries rolling here as the pressure continues to build on a weekly basis. And these cards aren't easy either, and especially when you've already used the teams up. So how do you feel about this week's card?
I was laughing, I think, in week 5 or 6 or 7 when Washington took a ridiculous lead, a commanding lead, the Commanders did, over Carolina, and I used both on Washington that week. Well, now I'm not really laughing so much because I wish I had Washington on Sunday, and I don't. Okay?
That's so good. Exactly.
Oh, you used them on both teams, huh? So now you're thinking, I wish I had used them both.
That's wild.
Yeah. Okay,
well
so 57 people still have Washington, and they're likely to commit, at least the majority will, this week against a depleted Dallas Cowboys team that has lost 2 offensive linemen, including Zach Martin, which really makes that team go. They may hold out next week. They play your Tennessee Titans, Cam, but the Titans are always a dangerous team. At 1-9, they are still capable of upsetting anyone. Remember, this team could have easily won a few games at the beginning of the year, if not for Will Levis.
They're not a dangerous team. They're dangerous to people that bet on them.
Yes, exactly. All they do is kill me.
They're 1-9 against the spread.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Fortunately, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's do this thing. This is Sports Rage. I am Morency, the Pittsburgh Players Hustlers, people of Boston, everybody else in between. SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM, Channel 159. Let's get into some NFL football. I want to get to college as well. But, Paul, not the most glamorous game on the board, but you've attacked this one pretty heavily earlier in the week, the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. Talk to me about this AFC East matchup.
So I really like what the Patriots have been doing lately. And this team is a stark contrast from what we saw when Jacoby Brissett was taking snaps. I mean, Drake May looks absolutely confident. He's exuding it and getting the ball downfield, getting it to his tight ends. Now, here's why I think they have a chance against Miami. Miami had no answers for Bowers on Sunday. I mean, this guy was lining up in the backfield, on the outside, in the slot, and the guy went off for 13 receptions for, I think, 126 yards, and he even had a drop, 13 out of 16 targets, 13 receptions with a drop. Miami could not contain the tight end. Now, one thing Drake May is very effective at doing is utilizing Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. And I think they're going to struggle with these tight ends, and the Patriots are going to move the ball. Patriots will probably score somewhere between 20 to 23 points, which is probably going to be good enough to get a cover and take the game over the total, because this is a must game for Miami. Let's face it, they can't afford any more losses, especially within the division. They should get this, and this will be a very popular survivor play, but I think they're going to struggle with it, and the game goes north of 45.
Yeah, it sort of has a 24-23 feel to it. I get where you're going with that, but you played the over, right? As much as you like the Patriots and you just bigged them up, you were talking about the Patriots being able to move the ball, but you believe Miami will be able to move the ball. Like you said, Miami, look, since Tua's been back, they haven't scored less than 23 points in a game. 27 points in their first two games. They lost by 1. They lost by 3, 28-27, 30-27. They get that win at Los Angeles, 23-15 on Monday Night Football, and then they drop 34 on the Raiders. So this offense has been pretty consistent, Paul, since Tua's come back.
Yeah, they've been consistent. And against your Buffalo Bills, 25 of 28 for 250, and he's gotten better. The Arizona game was a little bit shaky his first game back, but it's progressively gotten better, and I think they should score some points. Actually, the best play on the game that I favor is the New England team total over, which I've already played a few times at 18.5, laying a quarter, 28 cents. But the game should go over as well. So I may go with Miami in Survivor. I'm basically backed into a corner based on the teams that I have remaining, and I'm going to hope that they sneak out the win, but I could see New England definitely giving them a dogfight.
Another team that goes over a lot that people don't talk about, the Raiders, actually, who just lost to the Miami Dolphins, 7-3 to the over on the season. And we talked about this game briefly with Brady, and I tweeted about Bo Nix earlier in the day. I think Bo Nix still has a chance of winning Rookie of the Year. You know, we'll see what Jaden Daniels, if he doesn't have a big game this week against Dallas and Bo Nix has another big game, these odds are really going to start to move for real. There's still a lot of football left to be played, and Bo Nix is ascending in a big-time way right now. But with that being stated, Paul, are the Broncos, is that too much, laying 6 points? Are the Raiders a live dog? It's a rivalry game. It is sort of one of those, toss out the records. They're going to hate each other no matter what. What are your thoughts on this now? It was 5.5. It's up to 6 right now. What do you think about the Denver Broncos laying 6 on the road?
I think this spread might be a little bit inflated. Now, last week I was on the show and I said Atlanta was a fake team and Denver was actually my best play. And we cashed that easy at 38-6. It was never a contest. Atlanta, by the way, they're extremely vulnerable as winners of the NFC South. I've already taken a flyer on Tampa Bay at plus 400. But this may be just a little bit overblown. The problem with the Raiders is outside of Bowers, they really don't have any receivers. So they're going to have to keep the game somewhat, play it tight to the vest, run the football, bleed the clock. But I do believe that this game could stay within the 6-point number.
Can't wait to see Shedeur Sanders hooking up with Brock Bowers in Las Vegas next year. We'll hit this and more on the other side. Bring it.
sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you. Pinching your own cheek? As I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma will do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's roll. The Wicked Wednesday continues. We're into level 2 right now. The Knicks offense has slowed down a little bit. It's 61. They got to 61, but they had like 50, 51, 52, whatever, with like 8-9 minutes left. So they have slowed down, but they are at 61 right now. So 61-46. In-game totals 236.5. The Knicks are now laying 12.5 points, up by 17. Clippers and the Orlando Magic. The total was 205, which is pretty light for an NBA game. Norm Powell out for the Clippers tonight, so that hurts them offensively. Orlando have been smoking hot. We're on the Orlando Magic, but we're talking NFL football. I want to get into the college with Paul. So, Paul, the only NFL pick I see here actually is the New England-Miami game. So are you holding off on the NFL so far? Are you undecided? Is that what it is?
No, I actually did play the Minnesota-Chicago game under. I think the Bears defense, although they're vulnerable on the ground, I don't have any confidence in Sam Darnold. Third road game in a row, and I see the regression in Sam Darnold. He had a couple big completions against Tennessee, broken plays, longer touchdowns, yards after catch. But this guy is just I'm not going to say an accident waiting to happen, but I think he's going to be more protective of not making a mistake rather than aggressive.
No, I think you said it well.
Look,
I think you said it well. He's an accident waiting to happen. Like,
I'm trying to
Paul,
be
the
kind.
pressures. Yeah, but as the games start to get real against real teams and stuff, every time he throws, you're going to have to hold your breath. It's going to be up to O'Connell to really call a tight game, right? So to try to not put him, as long as he doesn't think. But let's be real, like he has started to turn the ball over a lot more over the last 3-4 weeks, right?
As long as he doesn't
Yeah,
think.
let me put it.
It's a good
No, it's the same thing with Arbuckle.
Yeah,
No,
you're
but
right.
when
Don't
you
let
have
me-
a quarterback that sort of has bad tendencies, they get in trouble when they start to do things on their own.
Yes.
Right? Like Sam
Yeah.
Darnold, if he just does what O'Connell tells him to do and the play works, drop back, 2-step, 3-step, boom, go here, go there, slant this, bam, he can do it. But as soon as it's like, oh, I'm going to roll out, I'm going to throw against my body, or like, As soon as he has to start to improvise or something happens, it gets worse. Where guys like Mahomes, they improvise and it gets better, right?
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's the thing with Darnold. You need to keep him. Josh Allen, when he improvises, can get bad too. Like, you don't want Josh overthinking things. You want to keep him just sort of rolling along, and they've done a good job of that. But a lot of quarterbacks are like that. But I get it, Paul. Like, dude, I haven't bet on Tennessee once this year. Literally. I know they suck, and for whatever reason, I was like, man, I'm getting 6 points. Darnold is a train wreck now. Minnesota will win, but they're not going to cover the spread and whatever. We know what happened there. But all right, Paul, let's get to the Colorado game. Colorado.
I was going to say this. I had Minnesota over Jacksonville with a survivor pick. And I watched that game, and it absolutely traumatized me because I had another Minnesota pick, and I was going to take him. I was going to take him against Tennessee, and instead I said, I can't do this. I can't do this. And instead I wasted Detroit, a Detroit pick. I could have used it. I just couldn't do it. So anyway, my point is I think the game stays under. The defense of Minnesota is real. They held Jacksonville to 143 yards of offense that game, almost blew the game. 143 yards of offense. That was a 30-year best for their defense. And they roughed up Tennessee and Levis pretty good. Donald Brumskill at center really couldn't handle the onslaught of linemen and coming at him, and they were incapable of blocking. So one thing Minnesota does well is put pressure on the quarterback, and I think that's going to be the case here. Lower scoring game, under 39.5.
Next year or whatever will be the year we'll bet on Tennessee when they get Cam Ward. They're going to have they're going to throw Will Levis is done. Like, this will be it for him. They're going to take a quarterback, right? But the only thing is there's so many bad teams in the NFL this year. It's going to be tricky at the top, right? Like, there's a lot of teams that only have 2 wins and stuff. Like, it's very competitive race to the bottom this year in the NFL. All right, Paul, so you're looking at the Colorado Buffalo and the Kansas game this week. Colorado have been, like, really good. Like, Colorado are the one team I've literally bet on them, like, every game for the last, like, 2.5 months here. Like, I've just been riding this Buffalo wave. And I'll honestly admit, guys, there's times where I'm like, man, I don't like this. I got to lay this many points. You know what I mean? Like, they're starting to lay points. The odds makers are on to them. It's funny. The media doesn't talk about it much, but the odds makers know, Paul, how good they are right now. And this team's on a freaking roll on both sides of the football. They're 50-1 to win the national championship. Now, I don't think they're as good as the heavyweights of the world are, but I do think they're going to get into the playoffs. But they need to beat Kansas on Saturday. They get through this one, they're going to pull it off. To me, this is the final hurdle. I think they could beat, although Arizona State are dangerous as hell suddenly. But I'm just saying, if it is BYU, I think they'll beat BYU. Although I wouldn't be surprised if ASU knock out BYU this week, actually. But what are your thoughts on the Colorado-Kansas game, Paul? And what do you think about this Buffalo team moving forward?
Look, I played it over, okay? I got a good number at 59 on the open. Daniels is playing great. Kansas, look, they lost a few games there by 2 to Kansas State, a pair of games by 3, a pair of games by 4, and then the break finally fell in their favor against BYU. It's a game they could have lost. They won it, and maybe this total is being suppressed a little bit by the fact that those two teams only combined for 30 points. But Kansas did allow BYU to run the football very effectively, 4.8 yards a carry, no breakaway runs. And I just think their defense is a liability. They haven't really been stopping teams. They've been scoring, but not stopping teams. Now they're going against the team that they can ill afford to come in with a less than stellar defense, because Colorado is going to put points on the board, and they will, and Kansas is going to have to keep up, and that's the only way they're going to win this football game. So I could see a 37-33 game. I think Kansas is going to give them a fight. So I don't think it's going to be a rollover for Colorado. Close game. Maybe Colorado gets it, but I wouldn't count out the Jayhawks.
No, Kansas are playing the football now that everyone thought they were going to play earlier in the season. As you stated, Daniels was hurt. They struggled a bit. UNLV, they had some losses that people didn't expect them to, but now they're just sort of on one of this sort of like giant killer rolls right now. A couple of weeks ago, Iowa State. Last week, BYU. Now, it wasn't easy going into BYU to do that either. Although I think BYU were kind of, they had some magic going on. All right, Paul, we've only got about 45 seconds, a minute left here on the way out. Any final thoughts that you want to share with us?
Well, I like the Illini over Rutgers. I think Rutgers has been fortunate. They were fortunate against Maryland. I think Edwards missed connections, but you look at those California quarterbacks, Ethan Garbers, 32 of 38 for 395. Mitch Morse, 20 of 28 for 310. I think their pass defense is suspect. Altmaier should have a good game here. Even on the road, Illinois, just a better football team. I like what Shiano's done, but I think Illinois gets the win here. I know I posted a few more games, but
I've got Rutgers, Paul, under my pillow, over 6.5. And I got the big Steel win last week at Maryland. I need one more, right? I need to nail down one more. They're hosting Illinois here. And then we got Rutgers at Michigan State. This is the spot. So it'll be a close game either way.
Well, okay, it'll be a close game. Maryland only punted one time, Gabe, so watch out.
Rutgers won. Watch out for that.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Thanks to Paul Bovey for joining us on the program. Always good sparring with Bovey. We wish him the best of luck going into the Circus Survivor this week. And massive money on the line, man. Unbelievable stuff that he's still alive. The pressure's building. All right, so 67-42 at the half right now. The Warriors are absolutely murdering the Atlanta Hawks, 67-42. Because Atlanta's only scored 42 points, the total is 225.5 right now. The Knicks, they're also at the half. They just got to the half against Phoenix, 76-58 for New York. In-game totals 243.5. We jumped in on the original over, and we're on the Knicks, but we took over 242.5 in-game. They put up 133 points in the first half combined, 76-58. Knicks are now minus 14.5, 243.5. And the Clippers and Orlando, 38-36 right now, midway through the second quarter of play. We're on Orlando and the over. The total is currently 212.5. It closed at 205. And the game is Orlando or minus 145 on the money line right now. NHL hockey, we still don't have any goals. Both games, late games, have ended the first period of play, and we're scoreless right now in Seattle, and we're scoreless in Los Angeles right now. Let's bring in Ian Cameron, a.k.a. Babano. Babano, what do you think about the Predators and the Kraken game, scoreless right now after the first period?
So this is a game which fit the system, and unfortunately the first part of it fell short, and that is first period over and full game over for teams after a shutout loss, which this season coming into tonight was 26-13 with the first period over, 23-13-3 with the full game over. And Seattle was coming off a shutout loss to the New York Rangers Sunday night prior to tonight's game against Nashville. So the system said bet first period over, full game over, obviously scoreless. So first period over fell short. But in the games in the system where the first period over didn't cash, the second period over has hit in 9 of the 11 games and of the situations where the first period over didn't cash. 11 of the 13 situations where the first period over didn't cash. So my thinking is following that, 11-2 with the first period over failing, says bet the second period over, and you can get the second period over right now, minus 140. Or you could wait a few minutes and see if you can get close to even money or plus money on it. That's what I'm going to be looking at for Nashville-Seattle. Second period over here.
Great numbers, Babano. I'll make a mental note of that moving forward, teams off the shutout. But you're right. As somebody, you see this all the time. I bet the over 1.5 in the first period, and you'll get one goal or something, or it'll be nothing, no goals. And inevitably, always, it happens all the time. There's like 3 goals in the first 5 minutes of the next period, right? And you're like, man, why the hell couldn't you do that
for the second period?
Yeah, it's like, why couldn't you do that before? Like, you know, I mean, it happens all the time. But I do agree. I like your pick here, over 1.5 here in the second period of play. And the other game is scoreless right now with the Buffalo Sabres and the LA Kings. This total, listen, the Predator Kraken total's 3.5, guys. I don't think that's crazy to bet the over here still. I like where Babano's going. To put it this way, if we're going to win the over 1.5 in this period, the game's going over 3.5 in the game, so it's almost correlated. And then you got Buffalo and the LA Kings here. They're at 4.5 right now. The Kings were minus 170. Now they're minus 165. What was your pick before the game, Babano, for this game?
Yeah, I don't know if this one will open up as much. Buffalo and LA, very tight. LA's playing that way. Buffalo, of course, on the road. I think they want to kind of tighten it up. But I did take a shot with the Sabres here. I had the first period money line, so we get a push because it was scoreless. I actually like the way Buffalo played in the opening period. Kind of a sleepy spot for the Kings. They certainly played like it in the first period. And I've also got Buffalo full game money line. So I'm just riding it out. Sabres full game money line. So if you want to join me on that, you can bet them now live at plus 135. I think it's not a bad spot. And they won in LA last year, the Sabres as well.
The first period line too, Gabe, like I found with Buffalo, like it's only like plus a half puck, and you get the juice is really low, like because people aren't really in love with this team. But Babano, I'm with you. I'm on the Sabres in this game, so let's rock.
Plus 135 right now. In-game total 4.5. All right, we got to get to Cam's golf picks. We got Brady's golf picks in earlier. We got you caught to date with the NBA action. College basketball, UNLV are lighting up Pepperdine. And I actually like UNLV, and I didn't get in on this game. I was thinking about it. Just sort of felt like, yeah, you know what? This is a UNLV spot where they're really going to just sort of flex and blow someone out. 66-28 right now, so they're absolutely murdering them. Although UC Davis, surprise here. Here's an upset in the making, 75-68. And in fact, they just beat Grand Canyon, 75-68 final score. I don't know if you noticed this, Babano, but the USC Trojans are often heavily favored, and you'll notice they're also always in close basketball games as big-time favorites. They were murdering San Jose State earlier. They've cut it to 13 right now, and it's 17.5. Did you play this game tonight, San Jose State and USC?
I did not. I did take Arlington a few nights ago against USC. Of course, I like Musselman. Musselman's always been a little erratic, though, with covering as a big favorite in non-conference play. San Jose State is a team that's been up and down so far. I didn't trust them enough, but you're right. They're battling back. They're only down 13, catching a healthy number there. I'm on Northern Colorado. They're off to a good start there. By the way, here's a good tidbit for the future if anyone's not noticing this. Fresno State for years in college basketball, very slow pace, not a good shooting team, very good defensively. It's a completely different Fresno team this year. They brought in a coach that's playing extremely fast. They're going up and down. They've had one of the biggest pace and tempo increases in all of college basketball going from last year to this year. And there's been some good over opportunities with Fresno. And right now, their game with Prairie View A&M is flying over the total or trending that way right now. So Fresno State, a good team to look over the total with moving forward.
Yeah, that in-game total is 171.5 right now. And there's still 16 minutes left. And you know what? They're already at 103. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually went over the 171.5. And how about the Idaho State, the Bengals, guys? 4-0. Yeah, 4-0 against the spread on the season. And they're currently getting 25.5 in-game. That's down to 23.5 against UCLA.
Go Bengals!
UCLA are 3.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you. Pinching your own cheek? As I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I'm Morency. We're throwing it down on a wicked Wednesday, tracking the NBA, talking a little college basketball as well. And obviously, we're still very early in the college basketball season, but we were talking about Idaho State, who were surprisingly 4-0 ATS. And last year, they were one of the worst teams against the spread in college basketball. And a team that we brought up, and I'm looking here. I'm looking at the ATS rankings right now. And Babano, I've been telling people tuning in that don't know about Coach Dave Smart. And Dave Smart, of course, longtime coach of Carleton in the Ottawa area, and led a CIS powerhouse. And he got bored and finally said, you know what, I want to coach in the NCAA. So he was an assistant coach last year at Texas Tech, and he got the Pacific job this year. And they're a scrappy team already. And he's such a good coach, this guy, that they're going to get better as the year goes on. You already see, like, he coaches them into games, basically. And they've got a bunch of kids from Toronto and Ontario, whatever, Canada and stuff, because he knows the Canadian pipeline very well. But there's a team, Babano, that not a lot of people are going to talk about or bet on. But Pacific are a different team right now with Dave Smart coaching them.
He's a great coach. There's no question what he did with Carleton. They were juggernaut. They were a Canadian university basketball juggernaut for like 20 years that he was coaching there, year in and year out, either in contention to win or winning the CIS National Basketball Championship. And remember, he was an assistant in Texas Tech as well before he got this opportunity with Pacific. So he's actually been an assistant in the college ranks in the U.S. before getting this first head coaching job. Now he's taken over a program that's in shambles. So it's going to take time. It's going to be patience required. But look at even the other night against Arkansas. You know, they hung in that game for a good amount of time. They covered the point spread. They lost by 19. They stayed inside the number. They've covered a couple of big numbers as underdogs this year already. There is going to be money to be made. And you're right, even with teams where the program is in shambles and the roster is bare and there's not a lot of depth early in the season, well, great coaching can overcome it. Great coaching can make a team better as the season goes on, and I agree with that. Pacific will get better and better. They're going to be better in December than they are in November. They're going to be better in January than they are in December, etc. You're going to see incremental improvement just because of who the head coach is. And I think once we get into big West play there, or WCC play, I should say, you're going to be able to make money with Pacific, and they are going to be a handful to deal with.
The time for them.
The conference play.
The time for them, you know what, they'll be a good, by the time you get to that tournament. In that tournament, that's when he'll get to shine in a tournament setting and just sort of one-game situations. You know, another team, too, they're bad. They're not winning games, but they're covering, and I took them because I know Vermont well, and I knew Vermont shouldn't be 17.5-point favorites. But the Buffalo Bulls, 3-1 ATS. The Michigan Wolverines, 3-1 ATS on the season. There's still a bunch of undefeated teams, but we haven't played that many games yet. But it's all like no-name teams. Northwestern State, 3-0 ATS. Northeastern, 4-0 ATS. St. Peter's, 4-0 ATS. Idaho State, 4-0 ATS. St. Bonaventure, 4-0 ATS.
Nice.
UC Irvine, 3-0. Drexel, 4-0. Southeast Louisiana, 3-0 ATS on the season. And as far as teams that still have not covered point spreads, the worst team in the country, ATS, right now is Pennsylvania, 0-5 ATS. Northern Kentucky, 0-4 ATS. Oklahoma State, 0-3 ATS. Utah Tech, 0-3. Duquesne, 0-4 ATS. The Bobcats, Ohio, 0-4. Richmond Spiders, 0-4. Kansas State Wildcats, 0-4 ATS.
Yeah, they've not.
Washington Huskies. How about Grand Canyon? Guys, they were 0-3 ATS coming into tonight. They just lost as big favorites.
Yep. Wow.
17-point favorites. Massive favorites.
Yeah, on their home court, which is strong. Yeah, they don't look good. Penn looks brutal. Okay, Villanova, they want to send Kyle Neptune on the first thing smoking out of there.
They want to send him to Neptune.
Villanova destroyed Penn the other night.
Come on, man. It wrote itself. There.
Yeah, seriously, like, you put him on a team, put him on a rocket to Neptune. Anyway,
they want to send him.
The Penn Quakers, you guys know the Penn Quakers used to be a program. Like, I don't know what the hell. Remember, like in the Ivy League, these guys were wow. A lot of those
so
teams
you want to know
that
how bad
are so
Penn
bad
is?
Now.
Villanova stinks, and Penn got blown out by Villanova the other night. Not even close. Yeah.
I was on. I was on Columbia against Villanova. Now Penn had a run a long time ago, but they haven't been a top tier Ivy League team. I remember though when they beat the Florida Gators. Like, didn't they beat Florida in the NCAA tournament like 20 years ago though?
sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
My grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheeks. As I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
$53-47 right now for the LA Clippers over the Orlando Magic. In-game total is 207.5. The game is still basically a pick-em. The second half has started in the desert, and they're continuing to put up points on the board right now. It's 83-66 for the Knicks. So the Knicks are on a little bit of a roll right now. We're on the Knicks. We're on the over. It'd be nice to hit the in-game over bet that we made as well, over 242.5. It's currently 244.5. And the Warriors are just smashing the Atlanta Hawks, 82-57 right now, minus 23.5 in-game total, 229 and a half. All right, so we got Ian Cameron in the house here, but let's get to Cam's golf picks. We got Brady's golf picks earlier. We got Cam's golf picks, and we'll take a look at tomorrow's football games and more. And there's some college basketball in the afternoon tomorrow as well. Cam, what are your picks for the RSM Classic?
Well, guys, this is it. This is the RSM Classic. Then they're done for a while. Then they start off with the nice Hawaii swing with the Sony Open and all that fun over there. So this is it. The last tournament. If you want to get in the top 100, you got to do your damage now. So this is basically what we got for first-round leaders. So we start here. Captain Kirk, a guy who loves playing at Sea Island, 30-1 for Captain Kirk. Remember, they're playing on two courses, Plantation Course and Seaside. So three guys on each. Captain Kirk, 30-1. We're going to take a shot here with Jacob Bridgman, one of the hotter young players on tour, doing really well. And he ranks top 10 in first-round scoring average. And Gabe, your favorite, the Doors, Riders on the Storm, Sam Ryder, 45-1, or Ryder Trucks, whatever you want to say. Guys, we got the Seaside. Down by the Seaside, we got a few other players right here. Here we go. We got Austin Eckroat, a winner a couple weeks ago on the tour. This guy hits it a mile and playing very well. Patrick Fishburne, another great first-round leader type. He always does well at the start of tournaments, 40-1. And what's in the cupboard, Gabe? Mark Hubbard at 40-1. Those are my guys on the courses for first-round leaders. Now let's go to the winners outright. I got Ben Griffin. We'll give him one more shot. He's been close, almost closing the door at 32-1. JT Poston checks every box at this tournament. You need ball striking, as Brady Cannon mentioned before. It's all about the putting with him. Dangerous Denny McCarthy has been close. This is the week I'm jumping on him. That price is great for Denny McCarthy. Eric Cole, Gabe, I know, I'm just waiting for it. One more time with Eric Cole. This is it. And then we will have to maybe not take him next year, but So close, so many times. Can you break through? And Chandler Phillips, nobody knows about this guy, but I do. I watch a lot of golf, and he's been a top 10 and 20 machine. So those are the picks right now, top 10s and 20s. Let's take a look. What do we got here? We got Davis Thompson. Thompson's water seal. His number was too low at 20-1 to win, but I like him top 10 plus 190. Brian Harmon, a Georgia Bulldog, plus 275. Harris English, top 20. Another Georgia Bulldog, plus 145. Matt Wallace has finished in the top 10 and 5. The last 4 tournaments in Europe. He's coming over here to play golf, plus 150. This one's for Babano, the pride of Dundas, Ontario. Babano's hometown, a winner of this tournament in the past. Mackenzie Hughes, top 20, plus 150. And Lucas Glover, he's got massive hands. And if he can get that damn putter rolling, I'll tell you one thing. That guy is one of the best wedge players in the world. Top 20 for him, plus 175. Good luck, everybody. I'm sick of second and thirds. Let's get a winner this week.
I was just thinking, too, do they really need to add the Classic to the RSM? Let's just call it the RSM.
Classic on this one, I'll kind of like Coca. Remember before that other tournament was definitely not a classic.
Look at the field. Come on. It's not a classic.
Yeah, let's take a look. Let me see the chalk on the board. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's not a classic. It's RSM.
Same thing like they got to call every kickoff game a kickoff. There's something classic.
Yeah,
season classic and then college basketball classic. It's called the tournament.
Charleston Classic.
Welcome to the 2024 RSM Golf Tournament. I guess they just throw classic in there because it sounds better. But you're right. Let's just say this field is not classic. We have a few good points.
No, you're right. They got to call it something. I don't even know what RSM is, though. What's RSM?
It's a good question, Gabe. I don't know what RSM is. I think it's probably it's not a lubricant company. I'm usually pretty good with this stuff.
No, lubricant. No.
Well, I remember at 3M, I told you it was an adhesive.
My guess is it's chemicals.
Know what it is? Tax consulting. Oh, yeah, of course.
Tax consulting.
Maybe they are class. Screw you, H&R Block.
It's not H&R Block. Yeah, RSM. I don't know. It's for rich people.
Yeah, that's right. We own this area. If you're rich, you deal with RSM, not H&R Block. We're real tax professionals.
It goes like golf have a different stratosphere of sponsors. So we never know what the hell they're.
It's true.
They're never. What's the Sanderson Farms? Is that the chicken one?
Oh yeah.
Is that the chicken company?
It's poultry, big poultry down south for sure. Yep, it's big. So RSM is like KPMG. And, they have some in Canada. Yeah, I'm learning a lot. RSM International. Okay, these guys are doing pretty good.
If you make big money, you can hire them.
I'll stick with H&R Block, Gabe. More in my price range. We're great tax professionals.
Yeah, you got to get the cheaper deals. Yeah.
All right, so
that's funny.
All right, here come the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns going a little bit of a run, 88-77 right now. I don't like the looks of that, 88-77. Although it's helping the in-game total. The in-game total is up to 247.5 right now. We got a really close one, as expected, guys. Anybody that watches these Clipper games knows, especially when they play at home, all their games are super close, and it's 56-54 right now for the Clip Show at the half. So we get to 110, guys, and the total was 205. I still think it's light here at 208.5. There's no reason why we can't get. There's no reason why we can't get it. We don't even need 100 points here. You literally need 99 points in the second half here. I'm going to bet the in-game over of that game. All right. So as far as the hockey is concerned, still scoreless right now.
Yep.
Well, nobody has scored. Your system play is blowing up on us here, Babano. Yep. I was looking for some goals here in the second period.
Yeah. The system has good numbers, though. We got to give Babano credit. That's a nice clip.
This was the game I was a little worried about, Nashville-Seattle for it. But it's in play tomorrow night now with Ottawa and Vegas because Vegas got shut out tonight.
Good call. And you know what? So it's either got back on track or I'm jumping in at the really wrong time.
Yeah, it's never had it's had a couple of bad games in a row, but rarely more than that. And it's always gotten back on track after 2 or 3 bad ones in a row.
The Kraken are going on a power play right now, so that helps. There's 8 minutes left in the period. Still 8:36. Kraken going on the power play. Buffalo and LA still scoreless as well. Their total has fallen to 3.5 right now.
We need a Buffalo goal, Babano. That would be great.
That would be a good end of the night. Sabres getting a big plus
Great
money
price.
dog
Yeah.
win.
They were a huge underdog tonight. So
Do
maybe
it
they
for
can get
Brian Blessing, our friend. Come on now. Let's go, guys.
So tomorrow night, college football, there's one game, and it's sort of old school, actually. I remember in the old days when they had Thursday night football, the ACC, there always used to be like a good alternative to the NFL game. You know, you'd have Miami. It was often ACC stuff. Miami versus Georgia Tech, or Virginia Tech was good in those days, and you have a Vaught Tech game on Thursday nights. So, you know what? It's sort of like the MAC on Tuesday and Wednesdays. Yeah, Thursday's a nice night for an ACC game. So we got NC State, who are still gunning for one more win to become bowl eligible, taking on Georgia Tech. What's your pick here, Babano? Georgia Tech haven't played since the Miami game. So it's interesting to see how they react coming off of this layoff here. And they're getting NC State are getting 9 points right now. The total is 52. I'm normally an anti-NC State guy. They're one of these teams that every year people talk about how they're this and that, and they're always the same, right? But with that being stated, 9 points is a lot. Georgia Tech have stepped up and been giant killers a couple of times, but when they're favored, they don't really blow you out, right? They get up for these other games, and you knew they would be up for them. They're 8-2 to the under, which goes to show they're not really blowing teams out here. The problem is, guys, NC State just burned money. They're 2-8 ATS on the season, Babano. Although NC State, they don't play that often, ironically enough. They haven't played in 4 years. So there's not a lot of head-to-head action to put our hat on here. What do you think about the game tomorrow? Do you trust NC State enough at +9? We'll hit this on the other side, and we'll get into the NFL Thursday night or any NFL card and more. Let's roll.
The sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you. Pinching your own cheek? As I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is Sports Rage. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. The Wicked Wednesday continues. We got Ian Cameron, Cam Stewart in the house right now. We were talking about the NC State and the Georgia Tech game tomorrow night. Georgia Tech laying 9 points in Atlanta against the visiting Wolfpack. Bannon, what do you think about this game? Total's 52.
Well, you've got North Carolina State and Georgia Tech both off a bye, so there's no advantage there. And it's probably a good thing Georgia Tech has the bye because They don't have as much of a, I guess, hangover if you buy into that after Miami. The concern I have for NC State is, and I know C.J. Bailey's played better, there's no question, but the run defense is a concern for me for NC State. How healthy is Haynes King? He couldn't throw the ball much the last time we saw him either. A lot of it was the run game. I got to lean Georgia Tech. I don't have a lot of confidence, NC State going on the road, and I know they had a nice win a couple weeks ago, surprised everyone, but I'm telling you what, I think Virginia Tech, certainly the better defensive team as well. I would lean to them as a home favorite. Don't love the game, but I would only look at the Yellow Jackets.
Cam, are you betting NC State and Georgia Tech?
No. I'm going to be honest with you. I bet the MAC games tonight, it went really well. I'm not touching that game with a 10-foot pole unless I can figure out something. Gabe, I think it's a very difficult game, and I always look to take a dog, but I don't really trust them. So maybe a total? What do you guys think? Are we going to get points in this game? I'd rather take a total than a side because I think the number's very, very crisp, but I don't know. Probably the under.
Georgia Tech's defense has been better, and they're really running the football and slowing it down and turning clock.
I'd look at under,
especially with the injury to King. So that's why I lean a little bit to the under.
Okay.
I think NC State will be able to score, though. NC State's offense has come alive over the last 3 weeks. They hung 59 on Stanford. 20. Cal's defense is pretty good, actually, too. They scored 24 at Cal. They're coming off the 29-19 loss to Duke. I think they can get into the 20s, and Georgia Tech will sort of get into the low 30s personally. So I see why it's 52.5. I'm going with NC State plus the 9, and I'm going to go over 52 in this game. NFL football tomorrow. I'm not overthinking it, and let me see what Pittsburgh -3 is. They're -190 on the money line, but let me see what Pittsburgh buying the half point. I've been surprised. Buying the half point has been a little bit cheaper lately, I've noticed. And not this time, though. They're pinching me here on this one. It's -135, damn, at -3. But, Babano, people can talk about Cleveland and they could have, should have won of this and that, and they're healthier and all this. Okay, whatever, dude. They're 3-7 against the spread. The Pittsburgh Steelers are smoking hot right now. And people don't talk about them, but I recognize the Steelers as legitimate Super Bowl contenders. And I'm a Buffalo Bill fan, and now everybody wants to anoint Buffalo the team to beat. Pittsburgh are just, Pittsburgh are right there, right? And these guys have been on a roll. I don't care about this Tomlin, against division teams on Thursday and stuff. Cleveland are ready to tap out. They'll be fired up at the start of this game a bit because it's on TV. It's a division rival. But there's also going to be a million Steeler fans there that are going to suffocate, take the wheel out of the stadium. You have an 8-2 ATS team against a 3-S ATS team, and a Pittsburgh Steeler team that handles their business against division opponents, and they beat Cleveland pretty much all the time. What are your thoughts on the NFL game tomorrow, Babano?
Well, I can't back Cleveland. I'm not going to back Cleveland. I mean, although Mike Tomlin long-term is a brutal long-term road favorite. Long-term, it's been bad. It's been ugly. But you counter that with the fact that in divisional games, and this is still a division game, 8-1 are the Pittsburgh Steelers straight up and against the spread in their last 9 AFC North division games. They have been absolutely tremendous in divisional games. The only concern is the role. That knowing that laying points on the road has not been Mike Tomlin's thing. We know he's been awesome as a home dog. That's why he was on Pittsburgh last week against Baltimore. It's my only hesitation and my reservation, but I would still only look at the Steelers. And I still probably will have a small bet on the Steelers. I just think Cleveland's bad. How you get blown out and run out in the fourth quarter by New Orleans last week, a team that's already fired their head coach. Not a good sign for the Cleveland Browns when you see that.
Well, there's been a lot of bad signs for the Cleveland Browns throughout the season. The only reason, listen, the players will play for themselves. So it's not like they're not going to try. They're going to play for themselves. They're playing for contracts. They're playing for money. Yeah, but as a whole, as a team, it doesn't add up to wins when it's all said and done. And quite frankly, do you really trust Jameis Winston against that Pittsburgh Steeler defense? No. I don't. I'll put it that way. The Steeler defense is ruthless.
Baltimore, but Baltimore's secondary is not very good.
Yeah,
and it was the first game, and they got jacked up and juiced up to play.
Yeah. He had the spark. Yeah. Look, man, Pittsburgh, they're on a 5-game win streak right now, and they have had close games along the way, so there has been close calls. 18-16, 28-27, 26-18, 37-15, 32-13. But this is just a football team that's just clicking on both sides of the football right now. I got a better quarterback. I got a better defense. I got a better coach. And quite frankly, I really don't care that it's in Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns guys are 1-4 on their home field this year. So,
yes,
bravo. You know what I
Here's
mean?
another
Oh,
thing
it's
to factor in, Gabe.
It's in
Russell
Cleveland.
Wilson- Yeah, Russell Wilson and the Steelers' offense hasn't looked as good the last couple of games, but they don't have to go far to get into field goal range with how well Chris Boswell is kicking. Like, he's
Correct.
automatic. You give him a 58-yard field goal, he's going to make it right now. So you don't have to get far into Cleveland territory in this game tomorrow night to put points on the board if you're Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh have been very good on the road, too. 4-1 on the road.
Seattle scored 1-0.
Yeah, 1-0 Kraken.
All right, well, we still need another one before the period. How much time is left?
Not much.
There's
only a couple.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. 2 minutes. Hopefully we can get another one home in the next 2 minutes. So, yeah, to me, like I said, I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers here. I'm looking forward to taking the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game. To me, this is sort of like the Houston-Dallas game was the other night. It's like, all right, you know what I mean? It's like, is it the most entertaining game in the world? No, but it's going to be a one-sided game. Look, the total's 37 in this game. Like you just said, Babano, I don't think, and Pittsburgh, Tomlin's a big under coach on the road, right? There's been a couple of times he's gone over this year, but he's pretty conservative on the road, Tomlin. He likes to grind it out. I don't think Cleveland are going to score much, though. I think it's going to be like 24-13 or something like that. 27-10.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
My grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek. As I was
that's what your
looking down
grandma
and did
does,
not
right?
know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The second halves have pretty much begun, except we haven't started at the Intuit Dome. But we're off and running, obviously, in Phoenix right now. And the Phoenix Suns cut the lead to like 9-10. They were sort of lingering a little bit. But the Knicks have gone on another run right now. But the offensive explosion continues, and it's very nice because we're on the over 225.5. We're on the over 242.5 in-game. And right now the in-game total is 257.5. The Knicks have put up 110 points after 3 quarters of play on Phoenix tonight. We told you before the game started, guys, this Knick offense has been killing it over the last 4 games, and it continues tonight. 110-93 right now, 257.5. For you in-game bettors that are jumping in now, I'm already on the over 205. I'm on Orlando on the money line, but I just took over 209.5 as well at the half in that game. And meanwhile, we don't have a hope in hell of getting over 239.5 in the Bay Area. Golden State are winning 93-77 over the Hawks right now with 9 minutes left in the game. So we talked about the Thursday nighter tomorrow. So yeah, me personally, I like the Pittsburgh Steelers. I will listen. I'm going to lay I'll have the Steelers -3. I'll play the 3.5 as well, but I'll get a little bit of a 3, and I'll have some parlays and all kinds of stuff. The total is tricky to me. Normally, I like to tease these games to the over. I don't think Cleveland are going to score much on Pittsburgh. Like, you know, and it wouldn't surprise me if Pittsburgh, it's a short week. They're coming off a physical game against Baltimore. This is sort of one of those, guys, let's just try to find a way to win and get in and out here, right? If we win by 1, God bless us, fine. Like, Tomlin doesn't care about your point spread, right? He just wants the win here. Yeah, with all that being stated, I'm not overly panicked about the 3.5 because, like I said, I don't think Cleveland are going to do much. They might show some fight in the first quarter and stuff, but as the game wears on, the reality will kick in, and Pittsburgh are just going to wear them out, and Jameis Winston will turn the football over. T.J. Watt will get to him. Like I said, you've got a better quarterback. Russell Wilson's a better quarterback than Jameis Winston is. You got a better coach in Mike Tomlin. You got a better defense. You got a better offense. You got a better everything. Like, the only thing you're hanging your hat on Cleveland is that somehow there's going to be some big upset here, and, Pittsburgh are going to lose. But I don't personally see it. I'm standing my ground. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers minus the points, and we'll have to come up with another first touchdown score prop tomorrow. We've been on fire with that. For the record, some nice odds on this. Najee Harris plus 550. George Pickens plus 600. Nick Chubb plus 650. Freiermuth is 10-1. Jalen Warren is 11-1. So we'll have some nice touchdown score props tomorrow. But Bano, anything college basketball tomorrow in the afternoon or NFL that we didn't get to that you like on the way out here?
Yeah, NFL for the weekend. I like the over in the Lions-Colts game. I think the Colts are going to be able to run on Detroit now. Detroit's suffering a lot of key injuries on defense. Anzalone's a big deal because he patrols the middle of the field. He can play against the run. And now that could open up things for Jonathan Taylor and a quarterback capable of running the football in Anthony Richardson as well. So I think you're going to see points. I don't know if the Colts are going to stop the Lions, who continue to be a freight train on offense. So I like the over. I'm tempted by Indy, but I can't bring myself to bet against Detroit, even though it may not be the greatest spot for Detroit. And I am concerned about those defensive injuries. I like Denver laying the 5 against Las Vegas. I know we're laying points on the road now with Bo Nix and the Broncos, but just have a lot more faith in them right now to get the job done. I'm laying it with Washington. How do you not fade Dallas every week moving forward? And he got Washington off a loss to Pittsburgh, off 2 losses and a bye week. So it's just the perfect bounce-back situation for the Commanders. We'll do what we did with Houston on Monday night against Dallas. We'll split the bet. Half on Washington minus the points, half on Washington team total over, just like with Houston the other night.
Yeah, no reason why Washington. And you know what? This is a big game for Jaden Daniels, too. He's been pretty beat up. He says that, hey, I feel fine because he doesn't want to admit that he's injured.
But should help for those ribs.
Yeah, Bo Nix is catching him for Rookie of the Year right now. Right? Not quite, but he's around the turn. Like, you know, man, Bo Nix over the last month has been the best rookie quarterback in the NFL. And Jaden Daniels starting to hit the wall a little bit right now due to injury. But, you know, facts are facts. And if Bo Nix goes into Vegas and puts up another big number, you know, Bo Nix, guys, has 20 or more fantasy points in like 5 straight starts. I think it might be 6 or 7 actually right now. Like I said, Bo Nix isn't just winning games. He's starting to put numbers up and stats up. So you can get plus 400, guys, for Bo Nix to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think it's a bad bet. He still has a legitimate chance to do this. The media is starting to hype him up right now. And they're the ones that decide it. Other than that, you're on your own. Later.